what I know about myself is that I'm funny, right? People love a funny girl.
Yes.
So I'm like having these moments where I'm truly being myself. And there was always a moment where I just felt she noticed me, but I couldn't tell about how she felt.
Welcome to Misconnections. Each episode, we bring a true story of a misconnection and unpack it with the person who lived it.
This week's Misconnection, to the local DJ who had a gravitational pull, with Amber Abundance.
Amber Abundance is a storyteller, writer, and creative director. Amber is devoted to using radical Black queer imagination to create stories, art, culture, and community. And Amber's here with us today. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
And we are so lucky because you brought a misconnection story to share with us. And we're going to first hear it from you and then talk about it a little bit more.
Fabulous. I'm excited. We met through a sequence of moments while orbiting each other for months in the Black queer LA art scene. I was drawn to you from the first brief encounter, but obstacles kept getting between us, and neither of us was fully ready for the other yet. I came into 2024 off of a 2-year-long hiatus because I wasn't happy with the relationships that I was building. This was a direct result of becoming a queer figure online, talking about politics and queerness and becoming more and more known. Many people knew my online persona before they got to know the real me, and I found that unsettling and quite unhelpful when dating. But I decided I was ready to start dating again. My strategy was to be intentional about shooting my shot, go low and slow when establishing connection, and if the person was right, I would know. I completely trusted myself after taking the last 2 years off the scene for personal development and to reset my coochie to my improved standards of care and comfort following a series of unfortunate situationships. I won't say all of the situationships were unfortunate, they just weren't what I wanted, but I was having fun. It wasn't it. So I had to pivot, honey. So my new philosophy on dating is to leave the house feeling my best, check, wearing an outfit that I love. These are my priorities in all things in life. If I can figure out an outfit for it, it's perfect. So I always text fit pics to my friends who respond with heart and fire emojis, pumping me up before I go out, giving me even more confidence to see where the night will take me and who I will meet. Then I go to events where I know queer people will be, people like you. The first time I remember seeing you was on a dance floor drenched in blue and red lights. You caught my attention instantly. And when I asked a mutual friend about you, she told me you were married. Thank you, I said sarcastically, disappointed that you'd already been snatched up. I refused to go down the poly route again. Been there, done that, no thank you, okay? But the sparks I felt were undeniable, and I later learned that you weren't married at all. Don't you hate when people have, not current information? You're delaying me. You've been engaged, but the relationship had ended. After that, our first official run-in came at one of my favorite bookstores when I approached the shop owner as you were chatting. You made a joke that made me laugh loudly because I'm always ear hustling, mind you. She was not talking to me. Then there was a night that could have been. At a show I saw you were DJing, but then missed because my friend who was visiting forgot their ID. We rode up to the function after it let out, and I felt your eyes on me as I blasted Tyla's Water from my car.
Made me sweat.
Literally, this was such a moment. Oh, gosh, my personality jumps through all the time. Our third encounter was at a coffee shop. I was pulling my life together with my favorite shit-talking non-binary young uncle. when I clocked you outside while sitting on a bench alone, deep in thought. I wanted to talk to you, but I was in my feelings about how we kept missing each other. I didn't know if you felt the same spark between us that I did. So I chose to ignore you, even though I know you saw me, hoping to smother the spark that was growing inside of me. And then, of course, there was the day that I looked outside my window and saw you walking down the street. This girl can't possibly also live in my neighborhood. I had just moved in, I thought to myself. But deep down, I knew it made sense. Of course, we'd be this close to each other. All of these moments felt important, and I was eager to explore the gravitational pull I felt to you. But at the same time, I knew I wasn't in the space to know you in that way yet. Just because you feel something with someone doesn't always mean you need to act on it immediately. In fact, I knew I needed to give what I wanted to happen between us time and space to do it right. Neither of us were ready yet, but I hoped one day we would be.
I hope so too.
And we will be asking about that eventually.
Yes. So, Amber, we want to rewind to before the story really begins.
Mm-hmm.
You took 2 years off of dating for your personal development and, as you say, to reset your coochie to improve standards of care.
Yes.
We appreciate that. Why was that important to you, and what did that look like?
I think that was important to me because a big part of my story in relationship to my queerness and sexuality is that I did not come out until I was almost 30.
Mm-hmm.
I had been in my first queer relationship when I was around 26, and it was one of those. I always tell people, like, when it comes to coming out, there's like different levels of it. There's telling your friends and the people you're spending the most time with. And then like the ultimate level is, does your mama know? So my mama did not know until I was 30. So nothing else felt concrete.
Yeah.
And with that, you go through, there's a lot of unlearning you have to do with queerness, because we're taught from the moment we hit this planet, especially as girls, what our dating life should be like and who our dating life should be with. So it was important for me to take those 2 years, because when I first came into my identity, it's almost like teen dating again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're a kid. I used to hate when people would call me a baby gay, because like intellectually I'm like, I'm a grown woman.
Yeah.
But I was just making like very preteen-esque decisions. I was dating based on what I thought lesbian and queer relationships look like.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to get clear on if I was approaching my sexuality as someone who was bisexual, which I feel like is where a lot of us start. You're like, oh, I'm just dating this one girl, but I'll go back. I did not. I'll never go back. Or if I was queer in terms of dating across the gender spectrum, which I also tried. And then I realized, like, actually, I'm very much a lesbian, because I love being with women, and I love being with folks who identify as women, especially Black women, like, whew, honey. So it was important for me to pause to just know what that was for me. And yeah, to not date, like, how would I explain it? You can get into this vibe, especially because I'm a femme presenting Black woman, which means like I like my razzle dazzle, I'm dressed up, I wear my makeup and all these things. And sometimes a big part of my lesbian identity is undoing gender norms in that. That's what actually drew me the most to queerness.
Yeah.
Is that I could be in a relationship with someone who wasn't going to passively oppress me. But if you're not clear about that, then you also can reinvent those gender norms even when no men are present. I've dated trans mass people. I've dated people transitioning. I've dated non-binary folks. And what is the common denominator with all that is me as a Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, people have a lot of perceptions on what they think Black women are and what they should be doing with everybody else. There are people who are non-binary and gender anarchists for everybody but Black women.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is a reality in queer dating. And you have to come up with ways to get to that, get into those questions, see what that's looking like so you can interrupt it. And I felt like I love dating. I'm a mixy type of person. Yeah, so I had to pause and be like, okay, what is my relationship with these folks? Especially because I didn't want to find myself in the queer version of a heterosexual relationship.
Sure. Yeah.
That makes so much sense. And when you did start dating again, you talk about choosing to not date online, to go to spaces where you would meet someone in person and do so with confidence in your best outfit, like you said, in all times. Anyway, supported by your group chat.
Mm-hmm.
How does that connect to like your overall dating approach of going low and slow? How would you describe that?
So I moved to LA in 2019 from Washington, D.C. And my life in DC, like we were just out all the time.
Mhm.
That when I wanted to date a man, I would just go find him, pick him up.
Yeah.
Very
said, I'm gonna
easy.
go do that.
That's why I would tell my friends when they had talk. I'm like, you just don't. They're outside. Like, they are just there. You can pick one. Like just you have your different levels in terms of what you want. But I never had a problem with that, honey. That's why I push back when people are like, oh, you're lesbian because you can't find a man. I was like, I'm lesbian right now. And still have to keep these men off of.
Yeah.
Please stay out my DMs. But I when I moved to LA, I had this perception of LA of like everyone should know where the pool is and like a fun beach and all these things. And I would be on Tinder and just like the connections were terrible. I'm like, I feel for straight people. I'm so sorry. But it's like everyone wants you to come over to their house. Nobody wants to go on an adventure. Like, and I'm just in my mind, I'm like, I'm in this new city. Why doesn't anyone want to show me this city?
Sure.
So I deleted those things. And I think what it forced me to do is to continue to see events and gatherings that I love to go to because they align with my hobbies. I'm interested in them, and that there will be other people who go to those things because this is something they enjoy doing. Those people can be single. And then you talk to those people and you get to know them and shoot your shot. Like, this is how the world should go, in my opinion. So with the fact that I was building community for myself here, I would go to things that had a similar theme. So like the art scene in LA. You go to galleries all the time. There's your little wine, especially someone like me who's following Black artists and Black curators. Like, I'm a member at the Hammer. So going to those things, you see the same type of people over and over again. If you like that person that you're seeing there, you can talk to that person there. So that was my approach. And I'll say this about going low and slow. Something that was really important to me, when you're trying to find love or even friendship, you're like, well, how will I know this person is a good person? How will I know to deepen that connection? And ultimately, it's not like, people talk about green flags and like, well, this person had this interest or they were a Libra and my rising is in, all those things.
It's math.
It's math, stargazing math. And it's like, your body will literally tell you.
Yes. Yeah.
If you are genuinely participating in the thing that you are going to or witnessing, your body will tell you. You'll be like, oh, I'm seeing you, you're seeing me. How can I not divert my gaze? That's a big thing. Like, my number one dating advice is like, make eye contact with people.
Yes.
And not just dating, but friendship.
Yes.
Like getting to know folks, look them in the eye, get to know them. I'm like, everyone is really leaning into like always being socially awkward as if you can't get little tools and tricks to undo that in order to draw connection with people. There's always a way. So that was important in the low and slow of like, even if I meet somebody in real time and I think I might like them, I don't have to rush into that right then and there, because if that's something real, I will see you again.
Yeah.
That will come up. And we have a lot of life to live. So that's my thinking on it.
Yeah. Well, and it strikes me that like with what you were saying about showing up to events there and investing in your own interests and your hobbies and being in those spaces it's not making your whole life about dating either. It's about making your life about what you care about and the people that you and being a part of the world that cares about it too.
Yes.
And then when you encounter people that are also there, there's opportunities for all sorts of connection, but you're open to like the wholeness of who you are and then also how that intersects with all different people. And there's I think just like a overall valuing of different types of connections too, where I think sometimes when people are dating, can be so laser focused on like, no, I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for them to do these things, be these ways. And I'm actually just shopping online.
Yes.
And that's
versus
what
being a person in the world.
That is literally what scrolling does. And you're realizing like, I'm not even being matched with people who share my interests.
Yeah.
Like, and we really have to, maturity is knowing that dating isn't just about what people look like.
Yes.
It's about their energy. It's about their vibe. You're seeing them, how they treat other people, right? So like I love, and then when you're only focused on finding a partner, you'll look up and you realize you haven't done any things that you enjoy doing.
Or you don't have any friends.
Or you don't have, oh my God, a bleak life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then who are you vetting with? You know, I love music. I love music events. I love queer spaces, which again, that is historically how queer folks have found each other.
Sure.
But even outside of that, because you can go to a bar repetitively, but does that person have the same interest in art that you have or literature or those kind of things? So I'm a big person on like, if you want to grow your life, grow your friend group, grow your connections, like get a hobby, please, I beg.
Yeah.
And it can't just be drinking. You
Yes.
know, like
Yes.
it just can't be.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even if drinking is your hobby, honey, go to a wine tasting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go to a vineyard, boo-boo. Like there are more things than like hard liquor. Like there's a whole world out there that you can dive into. And again, a lot of my dating is the way I met my friends. Like I met my friends doing things that I love doing. And I figured I found out that they loved it too. I was just talking with a friend how one of the first times we ever hung out was to watch the movie Love Jones because she called me up. I was like, well, I'm watching Love Jones and making kale chips. This was clearly 2015.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
I am guilty of making kale chips too.
Please, everybody, raise your hand if you make kale chips. You're a millennial, okay? So it's like moments like that, or even my best friend, she loves wine tasting, and like I'm a writer, so I do writing groups, and that is how I have found my best friends in life.
One thing I loved with everything that you've told us is just like how powerful and valuable patience is too.
Oh my God.
Because like if you are going to date someone, you want to observe them, whether you're talking to them or not, like in social interactions. And so that you can learn like how they treat other humans and how they would treat you. You know, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but in the age of instant gratification, like patience is such a beautiful value to like integrate into your like dating life and even friendships, you know?
Well, and there's so much patience in your story that you
Yes.
shared of all of these different, you know, meet cutes that
Yes.
you were having, which
Yes.
we need to hear more about.
Yes. So you obviously were having a lot of almost meet cutes with your
Yes.
person that you feel a spark with, right? And your crush was starting to grow without any kind of like real signs from them that was necessarily like she was drawn to you in the same way. How did you feel to have this crush? And how did it feel to realize that you had this crush and not know how she felt about you?
So the thing about not knowing, okay, I have very high confidence. And
I love it. I love it.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Like, I'm sorry, I grew up with a mom who's just like, you could do anything. And I have a twin sister. I'm surrounded by girls. And I think when you grow up surrounded by girls who love you, you just have I have such a strong sense of self.
Yeah.
Like I have two sisters, a twin sister. Like I've always had a friend. So one of the things about these interactions we were having is what I know about myself is that I'm funny, right? People love a funny girl.
Yes.
So I'm like having these moments where I'm truly being myself. And there was always a moment where I just felt she noticed me, but I couldn't tell about the how she felt,
Yeah.
right? Like my favorite story about one of our first meetings was when I saw her on the dance floor and my friend was like, she's married. And I was like, and the way I honestly asked her was like, so what's that girl's story?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
how you know her? And she was like, couldn't catch. She just started telling me like a list of things she does. I'm like, that's not what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
And then that's when she broke the news to me. But when you're slowing down, you don't know the details behind that person, but you also, I'm the type of person who doesn't ignore feeling, like genuine connection. Like people are responding to you when you walk into a room, especially if you walk into rooms grounded and full, right? So even at the bookstore, I'm being myself. I'm overhearing your conversation with the bookstore owner, one of my friends. Her name is Asha, and I would make a moment between us, but then she would just like leave. so even with the Tyler moment, it's like I'm rolling up on her, and she's like, everybody in the space is like, look at this girl. Like people who know me, they're like, here comes Amber blasting this music. And like, they're all noticing. So I know you notice, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But then ultimately it's like just trusting your gut. And then there was so much repetition of these moments of me seeing her. Like, I feel like the final straw was definitely when I saw her walking through my neighborhood. And I knew that was an important moment for me because when I moved into this neighborhood, I live in Leimert Park. It's a historically Black part of Los Angeles. Such rich culture and history. I have been thinking and planning and trying my best to figure out a way to move to Leimert for at least 2-3 years, right? So you telling me the weekend I'm moving into Leimert, I see my crush?
Yeah.
It's little things like
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
like, okay. I feel like I'm actually favored in this way, So above all else, it just gave me confidence to be able to speak to her and to be like, okay, this is what I have. Like, so I want to give away the plot, but
Good news, everyone. Amber's monthly newsletter, Toxic Femininity, about her lore as a Black femme lesbian is going live. Toxic Femininity Live, an evening of folklore, fallacies, and fairy tales, will be a monthly comedic storytelling show featuring Amber herself and 3 other storytellers at Petty Cash Studios in West Hollywood, Los Angeles. Follow Amber on Instagram @AmberAbundance for the latest show info and links to get tickets, and get them fast because they've been selling out. So let's go back to your story. You've had this series of encounters, almost meet cutes, and you're holding out hope for maybe a next encounter that could finally shift things between you two, or you're continuing to show up to these spaces and seeing what happens.
yes.
So tell us what happened.
Oh my goodness. So after all of those meet cutes, there was one final boss meet cute. And it was, again, I was hitting my checklist. I had a cute outfit.
Yep.
I was preparing to go to an event that I was so excited about, which was the opening of Mickalene Thomas's All About Love exhibition at the Broad. The second I heard about it, I was like, I must be there. I just was like, if I'm going to have a good time, it's going to be at this event. And then if I'm going to meet another Black, lesbian, queer woman, it's also going to be at this event. Because Mickalene Thomas is like, if you've never seen her work before, it's stunning. It's these big, glittery pictures of Black women. Right now, a lot of people are like in love with Olivia Dean and the art of loving. And it was inspired by this exhibition, and in turn, inspired by the book of Bell Hooks, All About Love, right? All these, love was in the air.
Yes.
Love was in there. So I go to this event. I'm having a great time. Everyone is there. It's like just your favorite Black Hollywood. Everybody was there, but I love Black folks. So like, yeah, the art scene was out and about that night. It was stunning. And then there was also an after party at Soho House in their garden. The DJ was playing all vinyl set, which I love music. And in comes Miss Ashley, honey, looking
again.
like she looks, all shiny and beautiful. And again, she's talking to people that I know, and we're all, at one point, we were all in this circle just laughing. And I'm sure I'm cheesing so hard because I'm like, she's here, to the group chat. Because I already said, I was like, remember that girl I was talking about? She's here. And they're like, oh, great. I'm like, okay. So the song, It's My House and I Live Here. That song by Diana Ross is just such a groovy song, was playing. And I was like, okay, I have all the information I need. She's not married. We keep going past each other, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to talk to this girl tonight. So I walk up to her and I was like, hi, my name is Amber. I actually think you live in my neighborhood. And she goes, I'm Ashley. And yes, I know you live in that pink house. And I was like,
I
she noticed me. So it was like, that moment was all I needed to be like, okay, like she notices something that I am, like, I'm not just not hitting her radar, you know?
Yeah.
So I just thought that was so cute because again, I love my little pink house.
Yeah.
So yeah, when she said that, it was a wrap. And it was so funny because I'm like getting hot telling this story. Oh my God. It was so funny because she said that, and like as a true yapper, I was like, like I lost my words. I was like, okay. And then yeah, she was as responsive as I was. Like she was in that moment with me the same time I was in that moment with her. And again, when you slow down, I know that's important to me because I am present in the moment. So we had that moment. And I was like, okay, I think I said that and then ended up walking away again to like gather myself.
So I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. But like talk, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, and you're like, so friend, like you just pivot to talk to somebody else. And then we just kept moving past each other in the party. And there was a moment where we moved past each other and she like touched my hip and we danced a little. And again, she never like backed away from it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, how rare is it that we're going out and like even dancing with people for real? Like I haven't done that since.
I know, I miss it.
I know, like a little bump and grind. Come on, with the vinyl, that's so me. So we danced a little bit and I just like felt myself like melt. And there was a moment where she was just like leaning up against the bar, looking at me and I'm looking at her. And like our conversation was just very flirtatious. Like, oh, so I don't even know what all Ashley said to me, but it was smooth. And at the end of the night, we just look at each other. I was like, I would like put your number in my phone. And she puts her number in my phone and I put mine in hers. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see each other again, I'm sure. I'm like, I know we will. So it's like literally I watched her leave the party and look back at me. And then she went on about her night. And even when I got home, I was like, in my living room up from the night, like, I can't believe this happened. Because what I had actually texted my friends that day when I sent them my outfit, I'm like, I'm leaving here with something. Like, I'm finding somebody tonight. I look too good. And this is too nice of an event. And I was just like, I remember sitting in my living room being like, wow, she's like somewhere in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like she's close by because she affirmed for me that she had seen it. So yeah. Should I say what else happened after? Okay, so we just started chatting from then. Like the next day, she sent me a voice note, and I love the voice note that she sent me because she's a DJ, so she's always out. Like you just hear. I remember the first note she sent me was she texted me something like, "You surprised me." So it was surprising meeting you. I was like, oh, really? What was surprising? What were you surprised by? And she sends me this voice note. You can like hear her boots on the street because she's about to go to a party or a gig. And she was like, you surprised me because like I was getting to know you. I had these moments with you and like you really leaned into it. I don't remember everything that was said. I should bring it up. But just from there, we had just stayed in conversation. And we spent a long time just getting to know each other, sitting on the phone at night. And then we slowly had our first like like intentional. It wasn't necessarily a date. It was like, I want to lay eyes on you type of thing. And we went to lunch together because one of her friends was like, you like this girl, but you ain't invite her out nowhere. Like, what's going on? Go see her. And she was like, okay. So we did that. And then I remember shortly after we had our first date, for a long time, I didn't want to know where she lived. I didn't want to know how close she lived to me. But we had, before our first date, we had this moment where I was like walking to my car and she was on the street and the trees were, it was just very romantic. The trees were blowing and I wanted to like kiss her and I asked her and she was like, no, not yet. I was like, oh my goodness. So we went on our first date. We went to a tea house and then we went out to hear music. And we went to dinner and I like picked her up in terms of she walked down the street to my house. And I took her out on this date, and even in the car, she was just telling me the background story about her past relationship and being engaged, and that this was her first date as a single person. And it was all very slow but intentional because that's what both of us needed.
Yeah.
I think I needed to know that I could trust being in connection with someone, that someone just had my best. I was looking for someone who could have my best interest at heart. It's ultimately my responsibility, but I just wanted someone who really liked me.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. All throughout our dating process, she was just very open with me. One of the biggest compliments I get from our friends is like, Ashley likes to see, and not even just our friends, but from her, she's like, I like to see you have fun. And like being a big personality, dating someone who likes to see you do that instead of wanting to control it, which had been happening to me in the past, invaluable, because we can just do our lives together and be witnesses to each other, which is why we're together now. That's my girlfriend.
Together now. Okay, so we did ask Ashley to weigh in on what she was experiencing during this period of time of your early relationship.
This is so cute.
And you have not heard this yet. So we're going to play this for you live and hear what you think.
Peace, what's going on? Thank you for asking these questions. So, was I feeling and crushing on Amber as much as she was crushing on me in our early days when we were just like kind of bumping into each other? It's interesting. So, I definitely noticed Amber each and every time that we saw each other. Being where I was in my life, coming out of a relationship and just kind of being in my own space at the time, I wasn't looking for love. So I don't even think I could recognize my attraction to Amber as that or even a crush at the time. In retrospect and looking back, I can say that yes, I did have a little. I was interested. I was looking. I was interested. I remember the first time I saw her was at a media after party event, and I just noticed her. I just kind of saw her at the corner of my eye, but I didn't say anything. And then the second time I saw Amber was we were in Salt Eater's bookshop. She walked in. Again, a hobby. And what I noticed first was that she was ear hustling. And if anyone knows Amber, and she'll tell you, she's an ear hustler. And she kind of like laughed at a joke I made. And I was just kind of like, who is that? And I believe it was definitely when she pulled up to my party, and, you know, didn't really say anything, but jumped out and was being who she was.
Can't repeat it.
Being who she was, like just loud and exciting, and I was again in my own kind of shell a little bit at that time. And I just remember just being shocked about who she was who she was in that moment, and just smiling, but like being shy. But it definitely wasn't until we met for the first time
Ashley's
officially
very shy.
with ourselves and came to each other at the Michelin show. And I was just telling Amber this. There was a moment, the moment we spoke to each other and she introduced herself. And my response was to her saying, hey, I'm Amber. I think you live on my block or in my neighborhood. And my response being, I'm Ashley, and I do. You live in that pink house. And I remember saying it and feeling it, but there's a moment, I don't know if you've ever experienced this or anyone else has ever experienced this, when you don't even realize what you're saying. It's just something that comes out of you. And it just came out of me. It came out of me. It came like fully out of me. And I don't even, it's so much so that it felt like I had dreamt up that moment when I did see that she lived in that pink house.
But she said
Like,
it.
I don't even know where it came from. Like,
Captivated.
it felt like I had conjured up a vision of seeing her go inside or be outside that pink house. And because I said it so easily and it was so surprising that I said it, that I knew in that moment that I was attracted to her. And I wanted to explore more and see and find out more who she was. There were a few moments in our first meeting. Everything just flowed. It felt like an ancestor was giving me permission to show up to her, giving me permission to show her me, like fully show her me. Not the shy me, not the quiet me, but like the me that is locked in, paying attention and engaging. After that moment, I just knew that I was crushing on her a little bit, or like interested in her, or not even a little bit. I was interested and I wanted to find out more, so much so that I started dancing with her and just kind of moving with her, and realized I was like, oh, she can groove, she can move. In those early days of meeting with each other and bumping into each other, I took notice. I took note of who she was, but never really engaged with those interactions. And I'm thankful for that, because I know who I was and where I was at that time and what I needed at that time to allow myself some space and time to move back into love and allowing myself to love and giving myself permission to love again. But that first official meeting, when we both energetically and it seems like ancestrally were given the opportunity to meet, like actually meet for the first time, it just felt effortless. It felt exciting. I felt it. And it was a spark for sure. Like I felt that spark. I felt that excitement. I felt joy, and I felt familiar. It felt like a familiar, a nostalgic type of feeling. But yeah, crushing on her for sure. In my own way. And so I'm so thankful every day that she introduced herself to me, and that my being had a beautiful and timely and like just witty, kind of smart ass response to her introducing herself. And yeah, I just love her. I just love her. I love being in love with Amber. And I love that I've met her.
I wish,
What
Amber,
a voice note.
I wish we had more time to talk more about this, but it's been such a gift for you to be here to share your story,
Thank
for Ashley to
you.
share her story as part of
Yeah.
it, and to, offer your perspective on connection. We're so grateful to you and have loved this
Thank
opportunity
you
to talk
so
to you.
much for this. Thank you. I'm glad she was witty enough to respond in that way, because I love her. I love being loved by her, and I love being in love with her. So thank you for it. I'm like, wow, we've talked about so much. Thank you all so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amber, for joining us. Everyone, be sure to follow Amber at Amber Abundance and at Ample World on Instagram. Subscribe to Toxic Femininity on Substack and go to her new live show.
This Misconnections essay was written by Charlotte Beach. Charlotte Beach is a writer, sign painter, and muralist based in Los Angeles. To follow her work, follow her on Instagram at Scarlet Peach.
And thank you to Ashley Yane for sharing your side of the story in such a lovely voice note. This is Misconnections. Thanks for listening. I'm Elizabeth Wyndham.
And I'm Elizabeth Villa. Special thanks to this week's guest, Amber Abundance.
Misconnections is co-hosted, produced, and edited by us, the Elizabeths. Elizabeth Villa with special thanks, and Elizabeth Wyndham with Windhaven Productions.
Our theme music is Feeling by Danielle Musto. And be sure to check out our Substack at misconnectionspod.substack.com.
And please follow, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.